Everybody, today is Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. It's MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Goz. That's Dan Tom. The voice you hear, Danny Okers. Confirm it.
That's me.
There you go.
What?
Is it like a hostage? Like, confirm you're alive, tell them you're okay.
Pretty much.
So it's like, people are going to think we're doing something to Danny.
I want to, at some point, I have a lot of stupid bucket list things. One of them is to work at a movie theater for a week. And then another one
Hey, you're
is,
saying that the other day.
I think a toll booth would be fun. But I've always wanted to kidnap someone without getting in trouble for it. Just
Like Jackass? Them.
kind of, like, just put the hood on their head, throw them in a van, and maybe have a happy ending, you know, like, well, not that kind of happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Well, where's
surprise, we're in Vegas now or something, you know, but
After he's tied up. What goes?
have that person not know what the hell's going on for a second. I thought that would always be fun. You guys have anything dumb on your bucket list?
Mine's more like movie stuff, like, you know, like be in a scenario where I have to put the knife in my mouth and dive in a body of water. You know,
Yeah, that'd
like,
be cool
like just because that means you're in some type of crazy scenario too. You know, it kind of comes with the package.
I've always thought you can swim with the knife, though, right? Rambo just did that to be an ass.
Yeah. I think Conan tried to one-up him, right? I mean, there's like the War of the 80s action movies. Wow.
Cop, you idiot.
Cannot do this in the water. Wow.
Put that cookie down.
Put that cookie down. Now.
Boys have.
So mad at random things when he was younger.
There he is. That Austrian
in 1 minute.
That Austrian anger. Except for isn't the listener from Austria we have is super like chill when he calls in?
It depends. He's a real live gremlin.
If it's soccer,
he can be chill, but you can rile him up and he turns total gremlin.
Who's from Austria?
Howie D.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a total gremlin.
Coming up in 30.
30 seconds.
Doesn't have the same ring to it as 2 minutes.
Yeah. Alright, email is out.
hopefully everybody on the other side of the stream is hearing us all right.
I will check that out.
Why is Razor Ramon on the big screen right now?
No worries, dude. Thank you. What? Razor Ramon? That's not Razor Ramon.
Hi guys,
Look on the right. On the big
stand
screen.
by.
Over there, the very big one. You don't see Razor
Oh,
Ramon?
okay, I see him. Yeah, I saw the guy faking Razor Ramon next to him. What
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us. Can you dig it? There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goz.
From the fight capital of the world inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me as always is the devious and dastardly Goz. Our ace co-host to my left, the fight analyst Dan Tom. Back east, Danny Otto, producing like he always does. What's up, guys?
What up? Are you out of breath?
Morning.
No.
Oh.
I'm chill.
When's the last time you were out of breath?
Yesterday I had to go up three flights of stairs with a big backpack, and I was tired. It was like midnight. And I noticed I was a little out of breath then, but
We had
This humidity,
flash
man.
floods last night.
It's really, really humid too.
You know what I don't like about Cox Cable?
What?
If there are flash flood warnings, they interrupt your programming, and they put that stupid loud noise and then a black screen and it says, be careful, blah, blah, blah. And it ruins whatever you're watching. Like when you tape it, like if you were watching live fights and that happened, you could ruin a fight.
Yeah. Well, I imagine they just have their thresholds, and if there's even the possibility, that's just the way it has to work out. All right. It's Tuesday, and I still feel like there's a lot to talk about from the TUF 27 finale and UFC 226. As soon as this show was over, I was listening to other people's opinions and shows and scanning the internet, and I wanted to chime in, call in, and give my thoughts, but I said, nope, I'll save it for today's show. But one that really caught me was listening to Busted Open, another program here on Sirius XM Rush 93. Mark Henry and Dave LaGreca, they can't fathom why Brock Lesnar's getting a title shot. I'm going to repeat things that we already know, but they put it in a way that actually made me think about how ridiculous it is, in fact. The dude hasn't won a fight since 2010. He is 5-3. He is a former champion. But in reality, what do you say to all those other guys? And I know Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov, all of them working off either a win streak or an impressive run. They could all be competing for a world title. But they're not going to be. I can't blame Cormier for calling out Brock Lesnar. If you see Brock Lesnar, why not ask him for a fight? You know? And I guess it has to be for a title fight if they are going to fight. Unless Cormier were to say, hey, this was great, but just like GSP, I'm done with it. But Brock, you and I, let's just have a super fight. Because that's what John Jones and Brock they were going to have, was a super fight that made them both money, made the promotion money. But I don't think there was going to be a belt on the line. You know what I mean? But it's just, and you can tell Curtis Blades, hang tight for 6 months. Derek Lewis, hang tight for 6 months. Alexander Volkov, you must wait. But, what about other fans from other sports, mainstream media? How there is going to be a point when Dana White goes on Colin Cowherd and Jim Rome and all those other shows he loves to do, and hopefully they'll ask him, hey, bro, this guy hasn't won a fight since 2010. He's not even in your promotion. He's not even in your testing program. Can it just be a super fight? Does it have to be for the title, I guess? I mean, it is ridiculous. And I got caught up in it last Saturday because it was Brock, and they shoved each other, and DC, and champ. And I did get caught up in it, and it carried over even into yesterday, but now that I've had a little bit of time to exhale and think about other things, that is pretty ridiculous. You know what I mean? And, yeah.
But everything was in their favor. I had the same conversation as soon as the show was over. And I thought about it too, and it is ridiculous, but this is the one time where everything's in their favor because the UFC.
Why?
For starters, you had Derek Lewis come out and say, hey guys, I know I won the fight, but I feel like I took 2 steps back.
Right.
So you have probably one of the guys that's up there that could possibly say, how about me? He said, nah, I'm good.
And to be fair, I believe he's probably of the 3 in 3rd place, even going into it and coming out of it. Yeah.
Okay, so now you got Curtis Blades. Haven't really heard much from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got a guy like Brock Lesnar. You got your champ that's basically saying, look, I could call it quits today if I wanted, but I want to stick around for 2 fights. I feel like I deserve to pick and choose who I want at this point. When you have a dual champion, it's like fantasy land. There aren't really rules to that yet because it hasn't really happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's in their favor. Then you have Brock Lesnar coming back, and it's like the whole setup in the cage. I think what helps them is at least he's a former champion. I mean, you could kind of sell that a little bit.
There is no selling. At this point, there is no selling other than to go, this could make the company a ton of money. We're going forth with it. We're a business. If you leave it at that and don't even talk about competition or being a sport or what's rightful or who dropped the ball or who didn't or who rose to the occasion, leave competition out of it and just go, look at the fans in the eye and go, Brock wanted to show up. DC called him out. Analytics were trending. And I'd be a stupid man not to promote this fight because we're in the business of making money. But if he does that and looks in the camera and keeps it to what that took me 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I think a lot of fans would go, all right, salute. I'd raise my drink, honestly. Even if I was the most hardcore Dana hater, I'd go, he kept it real. And here's a drink in your honor. That's it. But the minute you start saying anything about like, well, he's a former champ and Blades did this, here's what's going to happen. Fans are going to go back into the archives and go, well, back when this happened, you didn't do this, and back when and then it never fucking ends, and that's not good. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for business. And then we get frustrated with him, and then he yells at us. You know what I mean? When right now, and there's nothing Dana White could say. There's nothing we could say that could be worse than Dana White trying to tell us that Brock should be the next guy for Daniel Cormier.
Secretly, too, hey, you did it yesterday. I mean, everybody's going to say, this is chaos, what's going on? But really, when you break it down, you look at all the champions, everybody's fighting who they're supposed to right now. So you can't even really say, like, it's chaos right now because this is kind of the one and only thing that's going on that's really chaotic at the moment. So, I mean, it just seems like the right timing. Trust me, I don't agree with it. But if he's ever going to do it, right now is probably when he could get away with it.
Yeah, I agree as far
as...
But
we always seem to say that. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no worries. I was going to say, I agree as far as right time, right person, right place. And I know I don't say that usually. And I think I stated my case for it yesterday. But I will say the most vocal party, though, who actually has been vocal since it was tweeting like a storm off fight night, and I've seen some since, is Curtis Blades. Very upset. Eventually just voicing the... contingents of the fans who are essentially saying, hey, F politics, F these rankings, none of this makes sense. What's going on? What am I fighting for? So I don't disagree with Curtis either, as far as that's saying, and Goes just, kind of reiterated that as far as his stance too. It's not that we don't, say, hey, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. We're not disagreeing with math. We are doing is calling the kind of scenery for what it is, and yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, you don't have to like it, but I do believe this is one of those exceptions of a right place, right time kind of sort of thing.
Yeah. And it's not even like when Jones beat Bader here at Mandalay Bay, and then they go, guess what? Rashad can't go. You're fighting in 2 months, where we could just kind of get it over quick. Or when Conor and Floyd said, we finally agreed, and it's happening in August. Or even Manny and Floyd, we met in Miami at the Heat game. It's happening in 6 weeks. Like, we got to wait for this motherfucker to finish out his USADA.
Yeah. So
we're all the way into January. We're trying to figure out if that broken finger, if Shogun or, if Gustafsson, who rises to the occasion there, which I guess is cool because at least that kind of will calm things down a little bit. He's defending the light heavyweight belt. That adds a little bit to the legacy. And then in the end, if it's a big payday, perhaps, but... God, I'd really love to I don't know, man. I'd really love that Blades on the same card as DC and Lesnar, just in case something happens with Lesnar. But again, probably after today, I'll just get over it, and that's it. But those guys made a good point, and I usually any show I feel like I could call into and go, well, listen, guys, all right, here's the way it works. Today, I could not call into that show. There's nothing I could say where they wouldn't go, you're a dumb motherfucker, and I'm going to tell Marissa to stop hosting on our channel because that's how dumb you are. And I'd probably go, you're right, and I'd probably lose my job. There's just really nothing. There's nothing other than to just let another 24 hours go by, and then we'll just get over it, But it is pretty damn ridiculous.
The last part of that perfect storm is dude's actually got a chance. He's big. He's tough.
I don't think he has a
It's not like when you try and sell Conor and Floyd, Conor's going to get pieced up. In this occasion... he's got a chance. He actually does. I'm not saying it's a good one, but he has one.
At least when it was Jones-Lesnar, it didn't get in the way of anything. This, because it's for a title and other guys are working. Volkov weighed in for crying out loud. Which tells me they believe Volkov's ahead of Blades. I think, right? But so Volkov, Blades, Lewis. But whatever. I just thought I had to get that off my chest.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that Daniel has set this date of when he's going to stop also helps. Because I think if you're the UFC, you say, look, man, the guy told us he's got 2 fights left. Volkov just doesn't sell. Why are we going to do one of those last 2 fights? They're basically doing him a favor, I guess, at the end of his career. trust me, it makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was ever a time for
But
them
see,
to
here's
do
the
it and
thing, guys.
kind of get away with their little reasoning, it would be now.
Well, we just did it when we went Bisping. He put in time. Let's give him a little favor and do the GSP fight. And we fucked over Yoel and Jacare and everyone else that was chasing then. And then with Connor, oh, it's going to be special. Champ. Let's leave the other lightweights to the side. Let's let him go for this thing. And Nate's going to fight. Oh, he's having a baby. Come on. Let's put everything on hold. We're always putting things on hold for certain guys. So it seems like we're just kind of always going to do that. And
did people not order GSP and Bisping, though?
oh, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Lesnar and DC will sell. That's why I'm saying
on us.
it'd be so much easier if you'd go, I know, it is ridiculous. And I'm going to send Blades and Volkov and Lewis a new Tesla each. Something like that. Because this is too big, and this is a business decision that'll make the company a lot of money. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rest of us, like I said, we just go, all right.
And maybe say, how about we make Volkov and Blades fight each other with a guaranteed shot or something like that. Give them something.
Yeah.
Give them a
or
little
put them
bit
on the
more
same
money.
put them on the same card,
Yeah.
something.
And again, back to the honesty thing that Goes brought up yesterday. With Bisping, it was injuries that was kind of plaguing his timeline of return. And even his own attitude was self-admittedly wishy-washy. Was, I'm going to retire soon. Well, I'm on top. I might as well stay on top and cash out right now. I'm going to retire. I'll take a fight against Gaslam in China. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It was back and forth. Connor, like you said, with all the laundry list I'm not going to go through here. Everybody knows with him. And I don't think DC did any of that. He was honest about his intentions from the beginning, even if it was kind of, to people like even me, kind of criticize it, where I was like, I was almost too honest. I don't feel any of the luster between this fight. I'm not a bad blood guy, but I wanted something between him and Stipe. But no, he was honest with his intention going in. The night of, caught up in the emotion, winning the title, he was very honest with the post-fight press conference, right? We covered that yesterday. And again, with you bringing up the timeline of out, he's got a hard timeline on when I want to be out. Age 40, this month, this year. All three steps. All the other guys who we could accuse of being in this position, I don't think you could barely argue them covering one of those steps clearly. And I'm not trying to hate on them. I'm just or favor bump for DC, but those are facts.
Do you
right?
remember when Chuck had beaten Tito 2 times? Mm-hmm. So in this sport, we just really don't go for the trilogy fight where one guy's up 2-0. It's just it just doesn't really happen, especially because they had been title fights. Valentina had a 1.5 case where she lost twice to Amanda, but once wasn't for a title. So here we go. And then I think they were just hurting for coaches, and they go, "Yep, we're gonna go with Chuck and Tito," and then they're gonna fight. Or I think he went Chuck and Tito, and then the first one, John Morgan or Kevin Iole or someone said, "Are they gonna fight at the end of the year?" And he went, "Yep, they're gonna fight." And he had this look, kind of like, "Go ahead, bury me," And so the first person started going, "Why?" And he went and gave some reasons, and he just goes, "Look, I just got talked into it." And then after that, it just kind of like, all right, cool. Chuck and Tito 3,
Right.
It doesn't make sense, but there's your honest answer. We all move on.
Yeah.
Sad part is it's such a small minority of people that are upset about it, and such a large amount of people that go, "Holy shit, Brock Lesnar's back! Oh, I can't wait to watch it."
Well, here's the thing: that shows that I would consider a casual fan show because they're not hardcore fans of our sport.
I don't
they
think
just
it's
happen
their
to come
show,
across
their listeners, it's
Lesnar,
just the host.
and then my buddies are telling me Lesnar. They're casual fans. Lesnar, that makes no sense. And what about the other guys? So I'm sitting there trying to answer them. Well, but I think this one, I don't know. It'll be over soon. Because someone's gonna wreck a car or beat someone up. I don't know, and that'll be that. But yeah, it's only less than 72 hours removed, and so I think it's still resonating with me. What are you gonna do? Lewis and Ngannou, we're done with that, right?
I hope so.
It wasn't much really to say.
Right.
Although, can I say one thing?
Yeah. You think Ngannou will shake out of it?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
It appears that we have now coined the light thing, right, in Las Vegas when a fight's boring. The lights.
Well, Anaheim did it.
I thought, man, I keep getting those two cards confused.
They
Remember
did it
the whole
for
luxury
Woodley
box and all that.
For Woodley and Maya.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I meant. We're originally from Orange County.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the light thing is a thing, right?
Yeah.
At least on the West Coast so far.
Some
of those guys.
It means pick up the action. Yeah, it was kind of early in this one. I noticed that, but it caught on. But it was nothing. If there was 17,000 in attendance, 500 people did it. Maybe 1,000. At that other one, everyone but 500 or 1,000 did it. It was bad at that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are good with the main card. I think we talked a little bit about the undercard yesterday. Hall and Costa both looking good, but they couldn't share a fight of the night bonus because they wanted to go for performance of the night bonuses. It sold well. The gate was great. Dallas has been announced for September 8th. December 8th is Toronto, so the UFC kind of let out their schedule. What we can speculate is who's going to main event all these fights. And tough 27 finale, Adesanya versus Brad Tavares. 2 new Ultimate Fighters. Where do you want to go? We have a guest coming up at 10:30, so it'd be nice to get some news out of the way. Then the guest, then we can turn to some calls for a bit, and then Khalil Rountree will join us in studio.
I thought it was a good card overall, but I thought the actual tough fights, the finals, lacked a little bit. I thought it slowed things down a little bit. But main event was one of those weird fights where the scorecards were a little lopsided, but yet it was still somewhat competitive. Like every round it seemed like all Brad needed was maybe like a takedown or something, and the momentum could have shifted, right? But he
did get a takedown.
You
just wasn't able to. He finally got one, right?
Yeah, he got. I think he got 2. But he just, as that fight wore on, you could just see he was getting battered more and more and slowing down and getting tired, and it was rough because you really see how Izzy sharpened up his wrestling. The one hole that we all thought he would have going into this fight, he really addressed it, and I thought he did well. So it was. I thought it was a good night overall. I thought it was a fun night of fights.
What's scarier, a striker who can sharpen up his takedown defense, or a wrestler who develops hands?
Wrestler who develops hands.
What was the first part of the question?
A striker who can develop takedown defense, or a wrestler who develops his hands?
I think traditionally it's been wrestler develop his hands, but I was actually just thinking about this the other day, guys. I don't really buy too much into the theories. I think he kind of filters out past about 10 to 12 years about mixed martial arts history. When you talk about this was the age of the jiu-jitsu guy, right? Started off, then this is the age of the wrestler. This was the age of the kickboxer, right? And you have all these kind of different iterations and guys you can kind of point to until it kind of caught up. But then even within that, even within more of the modern era, there are some people that will say, well, grapplers are in right now, wrestlers are in right now, or wrestlers are in more than they traditionally are. So I believe right now we're actually in more of a striking age. I believe that finally we're starting to see more and more strikers, because forever even Muay Thai is as much more common as Muay Thai is than Taekwondo or karate and stuff like that. Like Muay Thai is the typical leg kicks, and when they're talking about, they're breaking down the skills, it's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing. Like that's the basic kind of 4 that a lot of commentators and production will lean on. But still, we lack like high-level Muay Thai people. When they come in, they either were past their prime, they didn't have the takedown defense, it was in a different era, like maybe a Cyril Diabate or something. And now when we see it, even within like the female divisions, like a Valentina Shevchenko, we're starting to see what high-level Muay Thai or high-level strikers can do, right? We're seeing more of the karates and the traditional martial arts. And even those guys who used to, stereotypically have the worst takedown defense, again, the game kind of level has, the water level, right? The base level of all the fighters have risen. That I would go on a limb and I'd say right now we're more of a striking trend.
Well, let's go through it. Demetrius Johnson. What's his first martial art? Is it wrestling? Did he wrestle in high school?
He did have wrestling experience, but he wasn't
what's he more known for right now? I guess just his speed, and he's kind of good at everything. Honestly.
Yeah, he's a guy who's good at everything, but also was one of those prototypical guys that came up, not like the Rory McDonald title, because Rory McDonald was probably one of the first guys who really got blasted with that title. But that title can be expanded to many fighters. I do believe Demetrius Johnson, for obvious reasons, is one of them. But think about this, guys. We all say GSP. He was one of the best wrestlers too, and he didn't have a wrestling base. That was so rare.
Karate background.
That's not as rare anymore. Robert Whittaker. There's a lot of these different guys. Granted, Robert Whittaker is another outlier, and I think he is rightfully should be high on the pound for pound list. But what I'm saying is, we can point to a lot of guys who are really good at shutting down wrestling right now in a lot of divisions. and they're not wrestlers. So in other words, that the GSP thing is not as much of an outlier as it once was, because again, the water level, the base level of all techniques has risen. Not only does everybody know the underhook now, they're starting to know, oh, I got to fight hands. I have to break grips against the fence and creating separations. We're seeing takedowns are much harder. The small cage that's coming out, it's a big deal because I think we went almost a year straight, guys, without a small cage, at least at high-level UFC fights.
Wow.
So, again, we had Edwards on this very show, was it just last week, breaking down how the small cage favors the grappler. It's going to push the grappler into the cage. It's going to higher the percentage, right?
I agree with that.
And so you have that working against the grappler too in this day and era, where you have most productions at a high level, not just UFC using the big cage. So a lot of factors, but yeah, I think strikers are on a rise right now.
Dillashaw is a wrestler who's developed a striking game, and then we go to Max, came up as a striker.
Wrestling has been saying that the way he's defending against Lamas.
Then we have Habib, wrestler.
Okay.
Then we go to Tyron, wrestler. Who's the middleweight? Whitaker, striker.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight, DC, wrestler. Heavyweight, wrestler. So a lot of them have a wrestling background, but they're using their hands to win the title or make their climbs. And then with the females, we're not going to have as much of it. Well, let's see. Rose, striker. Montana, Nico Montano. What the hell was she? I don't even know much about her.
No, neither do.
It's really weird because
she's just a mixed martial artist who doesn't fight very often.
The top wrestlers aren't even really locks for takedowns anymore. Like, look, DC tried, right? He couldn't get it done. Then you look at the strikers. Like, look at our guest today, Khalil Roundtree, Gokhan Saki. Who would have thought he was going to get knocked out?
It's pretty close to
way,
even.
Right?
It's pretty close to even. There's wrestlers that have developed their hands, and there's strikers that are stopping the takedown. And
yeah,
cool.
No, I would say
once again making MMA unique. Let's take this call, and then we got to take a break before we get to Rosendo Sanchez. He'll be our first guest, the cornerman for Daniel Cormier. He's the one that gave the shove to Brock Lesnar, and he was also involved in a heroic moment here in Las Vegas. There was rumors of an active shooter in Town Square, a small outdoor mall here in Las Vegas. It turned out that there was, I think, a fight, and a gun may have been brandished, but there was no shooting incident. But yet, they kind of did have everybody on a lockdown in the surrounding areas. And DC was telling the story at the post-fight that Rosendo Sanchez, his striking coach, our guest here in about 10 minutes, him and Bob Cook, crazy Bob Cook, said the hell with this, and they went towards the shooter. So very heroic. The balls on that dude, huh, Sanchez? The things he does. Let's talk to Russ in Boston. What's up, Russ? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Russ.
Good, man.
Pretty good, man. What a weekend, huh? This is, I mean, for like a lot of people, like especially you and myself, George, you and I were both big DC fans. There's obviously a lot of haters, but I was, after yesterday's interview, I was just, you guys were talking about the long ride that he's been on, especially with the show and everything that's happened. George, do you remember when you first talked to him on the show, like what fight he was promoting or what fight it was after? Because I don't remember the exact fight. Do you?
I think it was his first fight, Strikeforce, right?
Yeah, we met him through King Mo, and King Mo said, "You gotta watch out for this, is my boy. He's gonna be really good."
So the first one I remember was I think it was before the Strikeforce days, and he was in a car. The interview wasn't even supposed to be him. He was in a car with Mo, and Mo passed it over to DC, and it ended up being an impromptu interview. Does that ring any bells for you guys, as listeners or hosts? That's the one I remember. That's my first memory.
Wow, that'd be nice if that was it.
I know it came from King Mo. I know that.
I know we got set up through him. He had a couple Strikeforce fights first. Then he had ex-MMA in Australia. We talked to him about that. He didn't know why the hell he was going on a plane. I remember the King of the Cage versus Tony Johnson. I think ex-MMA again. He wanted to fulfill. He had won the belt and wanted to fulfill defending it or something like that. Or maybe he became a contender and went to win it. And then he was still mixing up Strikeforce till about the 8th or 9th fight. And I think that's when he became a Grand Prix guy. And then he finished and won the Grand Prix. And then Strikeforce started migrating over.
Hey, what is it about DC that, like, he said he broke his hand? That only happened to him in heavyweight fights, right? He never hurt his hand in any of the light heavyweight fights, did he?
That's true. I completely forgot about him breaking his hand. I remember it being at heavyweight.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, if you guys remember Cub Swanson, he used to break his hands a lot, and now he's been through a pretty good stretch, I think, where he hadn't broken his hand.
Maybe because at light heavyweight he feels like he can wrestle more, because they're a little bit lighter, and at heavyweight he just knows that he's packing more of a punch, so he's throwing, but he's hitting the skull or an elbow, or I don't know, something. It could just be a coincidence too.
Your hand is so fragile in certain places that really it could be the most silliest of things that it would break.
My guess is just fighters don't let it heal enough, which is the problem with most things. I know I'm not a top level fighter or anything like that.
You're
but
not?
No, obviously not. But I'm just saying, like, I that kind of wiring. I understand that wiring where it's like people are like, oh, how could Cain Velasquez not treat it? Like, listen, it's just stubborn people. Now, when you have that stubborn wiring like me or you have, now you put it in a high level guy like a Cain Velasquez. Well, he's gonna run those treads with the tires very low. That's what I meant to say. People are gonna exert it now and be like, oh, he's talking about himself. Anyways, but yeah, that was the comparison I want to make. And the Cub Swanson thing, he never changed weight classes. He wasn't fighting at a heavyweight.
He never did do 55, did he?
He's got more boxing. He's got more boxing experience.
Thought he was doing.
He's got more boxing experience than most fighters. I'm pretty sure he knows how to throw a punch properly as far as his percentages go compared to most guys. But it was all in a grouping. DC's, it was all in a grouping. Most guys that were talking about it, it's all in a grouping. And with the hands are particularly fragile, they say, especially if you try to push your recovery date line like I was just talking about. So, yeah, again, you do the math. These fighters, the way they're wired, something that's fragile and as common as a hand injury with what they're going to be doing, it's going to be. It's probably no surprise why we see it plague them until they finally get smart and go, you know what? I'm going to take 6 months off, not going to fight, and then it's going to heal. And then you notice it heals. We don't see that injury again for the most part.
Yeah.
And one last thing, George. I'm really excited for this T.J. Dillashaw Cody Garbrandt fight.
Yeah.
If I had to ask all three of you guys right now, how many times do you think these guys fight in their career? And I'll take that off the air.
Okay, see ya. Ooh, okay. That's a good question. 3's an easy one, but that's under the assumption Cody's going to win this next one. And I'm probably going to choose Dillashaw to win it. Cody's so much of a hot, but then again, he did stay so cool against Cruz that that was pretty amazing. As much of a hothead as he was, he just remained so cool, calm, and composed, fighting an all-time great, and made it look so easy. But Dillashaw seems to push buttons. So, okay, it's pretty simple. They have youth on their side. Even if Dillashaw were to win, perhaps because of the bad blood, if they don't get over it, there could be a third one regardless. But it'd have to be if Dillashaw were to lose the title and somehow it was just too good of a fight to come up to do again. But obviously if Cody wins, then we are going to see a third one. The one thing I won't say is 5 because I got caught up in the whole Cain Jr. Dos Santos. They were both young. They were both studs, and I thought they were really going to do it. And they fought 3 of them pretty quick, but we haven't seen anything, from them. They've just been either hurt or suspended or temporary suspension, I should say, or in Cain's case, more than anything, just hurt a lot. Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back with Rosendo Sanchez, the boxing coach for the champ, Daniel Cormier.
charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
The Killers are playing a private show for SiriusXM subscribers at the Stephen Talk House in the Hamptons, and we have your chance to be there. One grand prize winner will receive a trip for two and tickets to this very special show. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/thekillers before July 18th. No additional purchase is necessary. Danny Okers, did we establish that
None of us can win. Yeah.
even my girlfriend Juliet can't win?
No, because it's partners too. Like, yeah.
So, oh, that's right. I had to do the breakup for a week.
Yeah, you would have had to break up, move out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then get back together on July 19th. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll run it by her. We could use a 10-day break maybe.
I guess keep us posted on how that works out.
Oh, actually, wait. That's your chance to enter the contest is before July 18th.
That's the deadline. Yeah.
When's the concert? Do we know?
I actually don't know.
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
say in the read.
Imagine if it wasn't until November. That'd be a long break.
For tickets?
But at least it'd be during football season. Yeah.
It might be worth it. That concert's going to be killer.
Goes. All right. Rosendo Sanchez asked for an additional 10 minutes. Too bad it wasn't 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So, I started in on some notes yesterday during our overtime, and I just was writing them down as things were happening, and I kind of went by them really fast. One thing I wanted to say was the finales, both featherweight and lightweight, just weren't compelling. Katona went out there and he did his job.
Big contingent.
Cuccinello didn't really offer much on the ground, so he kind of just coasted to the win. I'll use football terms because it's the most popular sport in the United States. It was about a 7-0 game, right?
7-3.
7-3. There you go. And then the other one had Giannetti versus Trezano. Hello, sir. And that fight had some moments, but what I didn't like was Giannetti being too casual about round 3, which wound up making the difference. It looked like he was halfway into trying to be a showman. Like, look at me, I'm going to come up with something amazing. And it never happened. Versus Trezano, who was like, look at me, I want to win that trophy. I want to be known as the 27th Ultimate Fighter winner. I'm here to do a job. And so in the end, I think they got the call right, but nobody was left with like, oh man, we got to get these guys on a card. We got to get them at Staples or in New York. Like, it was just let us know when they fight again.
I don't understand.
So they missed their point there.
Giannetti, because to me it almost looked like he thought he was winning the fight or something at that point because he was just so lackadaisical towards the end. But then when they were reading the scorecards, he had this look like he knew he'd lost. And even when they announced it, he just kind of went like, clapped his hands, like, hey, that guy over there, right? Like, I don't understand that because he wasn't like that at all on the show.
Exactly.
Very strange.
He looked like a gangster to me. And it just didn't work out that way. Another thing. Yesterday I was working on the rankings, and I came across this. I want to run it by you since we have a few minutes. I was looking at Sergio Moraes because we had welterweights in action. Griffin, Millender, a few others. Perry. And so I just wanted to see if one of them was worthy of a honorable mention spot. We have rankings 1 through 15 with USA Today Sports and MMAjunkie. And then we have honorable mentions. So obviously I didn't mean Griffin because he was one of the ones that lost. I was looking just at Millender. It was too early for him. But somehow I just got caught up in a little web, and I came across Sergio Moraes. Sergio Moraes, guys, check this out. He has been in the UFC for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights. He's 8-2 and 1 with 1 draw. That's not a bad record.
Nope.
Right?
But because he hasn't resonated either speaking English or capturing us on social media, do you guys realize that he's probably halfway to his UFC record or career being done? Because 20 seems to be a magic number. Some go as high as 25, 27. Oh my God, this being 29 or whatever. And then some can wash out in 3 or 4 fights. But the average, especially for someone who's 8-2 and 1, well, I guess it'd be 11. Maybe I counted wrong. That and a few others that are out there, do they realize how many times they're going to make this special walk down? How many times they're going to have media scrums where everyone is willing to write down whatever they have to say, and everyone's gonna run with that soundbite or your creativity on social media. And if you just let it go, man, it's like we don't care. We'll just move on to the next guy or gal.
For starters, he's fought in Brazil a lot.
Yeah.
That doesn't help him. You're right. The English, not so much. His striking has gotten a little better. But yeah, he just nothing really pops on him.
Why are so many of these fighters still like that? Nobody's learning from their predecessors.
I think he's happy with being popular in Brazil. Because in Brazil, he's very popular.
Yeah, he's also popular amongst jiu-jitsu communities. He already kind of had a jiu-jitsu career coming in here into the UFC, so he's kind of more known for that. So he'd probably be more of the older guard who kind of, we've seen all that before from like 10 years ago. We've seen that kind of story as far as that goes. But yeah, I would cut less slack for the newer guys though, who, like you said, predecessors mean examples, right, George? And stuff like that. So I agree with the newer generation for that. But Moraes is an interesting case, though, because even though he is an older generation, maybe for that example, to your point, very underrated guy. Very, very dangerous guy. You look at kind of who he lost to, even who he's beat. And he did kind of show up big. I mean, he was on that big fight weekend, McGregor UFC 194 weekend, but he fought on the Friday card, which was sandwiched right in the middle of a 3-card weekend. And he stopped Omari Akhmedov, if memory serves. And yeah, so it was a really, he got a stoppage. He did what he needed to do. Impressed even, I think, Brian Zan, who was calling the fight. But again, that's why if I sound like, I'm overly coming from a media-centric or even Dan-centric side of, oh, look at all these fight cards, 10 fight cards in 9 weeks. The complaint is more for the fighters, believe it or not, than it is selfishly for me. Because you get guys, whether they're young up-and-coming guys or guys like Moraes who are underrated, they don't have that much time. They have things working against them like the English. They show up, they come to the United States, they go travel, they get a stoppage as an underdog, and we forget about it. And we're guys who watch fights. That's all we do. We cover the sport for a living, and we forget about these things.
At least the guy with the hockey mask, he was on the same season as him. At least I went, oh, that's the guy with the hockey mask. Honey Jason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you need to come up with some sort of
to your point,
creativity out there. Because
it's not getting any easier.
And one last thing. I know we got to take a break.
Yeah,
but one last thing here. Fighters from flyweight to light heavyweight and women's MMA, atomweight to featherweight. Learn from Curtis Blades. Use your predecessors to learn. All right? What happened to him was unfortunate, but now that should wake you up. If you're 3-1 or 6-1-1 or 8-2 and you're climbing for a title shot, you better start rattling that cage, making noise, coming to the UFC PI for a week, taking advantage, running into the boss. I'm telling you, get people's attention, because otherwise it's going to happen to you. And it's unfortunate it happened to Curtis Blades, but it's going to happen to you. So learn. Stop being lazy, MMA fighters. A lot of you have it in you, man. That's why you're exceptional athletes. Use that for your careers outside of the cage. We'll be right back after this break.
They were kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good-looking. Once again, here's Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, let's get right to it. We got Daniel Cormier's boxing coach on the hotline. His name is Rosendo Sanchez. He joins us now on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. What's up, Rosendo? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Did you get some coffee in you?
I got a little coffee. Got home a little late last night, but we're ready to go now.
All right. Well, congrats to yourself and to all of Team DC. I know it's him that gets in the cage, but it's a group of people that have been with him for a long time that help prepare him, and they go to battle with him. So, again, congratulations. It's an amazing accomplishment, what he did on Saturday night, winning his second major title simultaneous to the one he already has.
Yeah, for sure. We're very blessed and honored to be part of his team too.
Mm-hmm. Afterwards, DC, I've watched this fight many times. As he goes around, the coaches have to be held back for a bit. So I think Bob Cook and a few of the other ones are actually leaning over the cage. Somehow you were standing outside the cage, but he pulled you in. He gave you a strong embrace. Was the embrace itself? Did that basically speak? Did that action speak many words, or did he actually say something to you in that embrace?
The embrace, it was the embrace. It meant more than words. He said a couple little things because he was so happy, but it was more the embrace of putting all the hard work and all the dedication that all of his coaches have done throughout the years.
Do you remember the first time you met DC and what he said to you that made you go to his team? Did it have to do with the Tyson Griffin connection? Because I remember that's how we met you down here in Las Vegas.
So it kind of worked out that way. We were out in Tyson was a kid that was like, I'm done with Vegas. I'm going to move back home, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, he was there one day and he goes, "Who are you?" And it was kind of funny because King Mo was asking me, "Hey, aren't you that little guy that beat Benito Donaire?" And I played it off like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know nothing, He goes, "Come on, dude, I know you. You're the guy." And I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And then Tyson kind of like went over to the side and goes, "Yeah, that's him, Because I'm not a big bragger about stuff, So then he goes, "Hey, can I work with you?" He goes, "Hey, I'm me joking around. I'm like, hey, I'm too small. You need a bigger guy to hold mitts for you." He goes, come on. Let's do a little pad work. And then that's how it all started, man. Thanks to Tyson and also the hard work,
Yeah. And, of course, Rosendo has boxed professionally before, 5-1 overall, and, yes, he has beaten Benito Donaire. All right, Goes, what do you have for Rosendo Sanchez?
So, Rosendo, I know that Daniel's kind of laid out roughly what he wants to do. But I know how you are, and I know you love preparation. At what point do you sit down and start to look at these options and start game planning for guys like Brock Lesnar?
Well, there's a lot of preparation, and it's different with different fighters. We generally, he says we're fighting this time. It gives about 3 months. Then we start as a team mapping out what we're going to do. Some guys have different opinions, and some guys work on different things, and we all work as a team. That's one thing about AK, man. It's unselfishness. There's no egos. Everybody has their part in the team, and it all comes together, and we work as a team. And it's amazing.
The Rosendo Sanchez Brock Lesnar match that took place for a couple seconds there was 10-9U. But I was just curious, what was the plan if he would have turned around and went at you? Like, what was your next move?
Yeah, you have a double leg?
No double leg. I'm going to go straight to the nuts. He's going to come down to his knees, and I'm going to hit him in the throat.
I knew he had something. And then, Rosendo, I want to talk about the night before, the meal that you guys had here at Town Square. For those of you who don't know, Town Square is kind of your outdoor mall area, and there was an active shooter. And Daniel had mentioned that you, Bob Cook, a lot of people were just kind of laying down on the ground, just trying to be safe. You guys went towards the shooting, and that didn't shock me one bit. I know how you are. I know how Bob Cook is. I would totally expect to have you guys do something like that. But really, what was going through your mind? What was your game plan? Like, what was it that you guys were trying to do?
Well, the plan is trying to, have not people get shot where we're at. We got a bunch of friends and family at the place. Unfortunately, and I'm blessed that my son wasn't there at the time, because usually my son travels with me to all these fights. Unfortunately, this time he couldn't travel. And, you know, within Daniel's family, my son is really good friends with his kids and all that, and his wife and, you know, all the people there. It's like, you know what, let's get out there and let's avoid any of these people getting hurt, you know. So we went out there, and a couple other people. There was like 6 other people that went. That was one of the sponsors has a couple guys that are police officers and undercovers and all this stuff. So we went out there and we went towards it and figured out. By the time we got there, it was kind of all under control, which was a good thing, you know. But you know, that's who we are. That's who we're built.
But Rosendo, was anybody in the group packing? Maybe the ex-cops at least, or you and Bob? I don't know if you guys carry. The throat punch and the double leg ain't gonna work in that situation. I mean, at that point, you don't know if he's got just a handgun or if he's got an automatic weapon. So, what were you thinking?
It's funny. It's funny you say that. There was nobody packing. All these guys are all cops or whatever, not, you know. And it was funny because as we're walking, Bob grabs like 10 rocks. I'm like, I'm gonna throw some rocks, maybe change the direction, and we're gonna attack them. I'm like, all right, Bob, let's go.
Well, the bottom line is you guys are just nuts. We know Crazy Bob Cook's crazy. The rest of you guys are just nuts, just like him. Then nuts and brave.
Hey, you know what? Hey, but you know what? I can't thank Bob enough for, you know, such a great manager. And you know, here's the thing too. I don't think a lot of people give him the credit as a great manager and a great coach within good. He knows how to put everything together. And you know, I'm blessed as a boxing coach. Now, you know, been MMA coach for about 15 years. Yeah. I'm blessed that I got people that I can sit there and just soak in all the knowledge of what he's got, you know. Within Javier and all the other guys, you know.
Back to Rosendo versus Brock. I forgot to ask you something. Dana White's the one that kind of grabbed you and you know, escorted you towards the corner. By then you were kind of smiling, but did he say anything to you?
Yeah, he kind of smiles. You again? and it was funny, you know, because, you know, I'm very, it's like I tell people, it's all my fighters. I give you my heart and soul, and I don't want, you know, yeah, you know, there's different guys, whatever. I'm going to give you a crack at it, the best crack I can, you know. And it's, I just don't feel like people are going to disrespect my fighters. You know, a lot of people said, oh, it was staged or this or that. Hey, if it was staged, I didn't know nothing about it because I went for it.
Yeah. Rosendo Sanchez, Daniel Cormier's boxing coach, joining us here on the hotline. Dan Tom, what do you have for Rosendo Sanchez?
Hey, Rosendo, thanks for joining us, man. I just wanted to ask you a question. Try to put this in the right way, I guess. You know, like we'll hear Daniel Cormier or people around you. Obviously, they'll comment on you, your loyalty, your importance, all those things they'll always say. But they'll always, of course, you know, endearingly and respectfully. But they'll always kind of make a jab, you know, about your height. And I remember even, you know, some opponents, I believe even maybe John Jones during that camp was commenting on you guys doing mitt work. But the way I look at it, for people that aren't aware of your background and your boxing background, I would imagine you would almost, from an outsider perspective, of course, I would imagine you were almost a perfect fit for Daniel Cormier, because you're not just your knowledge and experience in combat, but having to deal with a lot of the same issues that Daniel Cormier probably had to deal with in both light heavyweight and heavyweight. Am I wrong there, or can you elaborate more on that?
You're absolutely correct. You know, I think that within my career as an amateur, I had a big amateur career. You know, my professional career wasn't as long, but, you know, it's, you know, like I tell people, you know, it's the smaller guy, you know, knowing certain angles and how to move the head and coming in at certain ways. I don't care how tall you are. I had that issue my whole amateur career because I always fought a little heavier because I hated cutting weight, but these guys were like 5'9", 5'10", you know. When I was at the Olympic trials, the guys were 6 foot tall, you know. But I actually ended up fighting at 118 because at 125 they were just too big, too long. But you know, I think that it helps me being such a smaller guy and fighting all these taller guys and learning how to maneuver and cut angles and good head movement with set it up with a great jab. You know, that's when I tell DC at one time when we first started training, I said your jab is going to beat a lot of guys. Set everything up off with your jab and everything's going to come together. Close the distance, then throw your punches nice and straight as you're closing the distance to come over the top, or grab the neck, uppercut, and then over the top. So, yeah.
And Rosendo, DC did make note of the fact that you guys worked a lot on that combo, off the clinch, Stipe drops his hands, and then he comes in with that hook over the top. He definitely gave you credit. So good job catching that, and also all the game plans over the years. It's been an incredible run. We got to move on, my man. It's been great to catch up. We'd love to have another chat with you. I feel like not enough people know about your skills and all the work you've done over the years. So hopefully next time you're in Vegas, or we'll just do another phoner soon sometime. But we'd love to talk to you some more. All right, bud?
Anytime, brother. Thank you guys for calling me. I'm so honored and blessed to have you guys be on the air with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosendo. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, see you. All right, that's Rosendo Sanchez, the boxing coach for Daniel Cormier. Goes noted this earlier. He does have a Twitter. If you want to give him a follow, he's not too active on it, but hey, give him a follow. It's at Rosendo Sanchez. All right, we got Khalil Roundtree here in studio with us. He'll be co-hosting the second hour with us. Stay close. We'll be right back. All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Want to welcome to the show UFC light heavyweight Khalil Roundtree, who's coming off a big win, first round KO stoppage of Gokhan Saki. Welcome, Khalil. How you doing?
Feeling good, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, long time, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Tough enough days.
Yeah,
you cruised
days.
into our other studio with your brother.
Yep.
How's he doing?
He's doing really well, man.
All right,
taking
cool.
care of the family.
George, shut up. I know what you want. You know what? he does kind of care about all this, but he just discovered
do.
something that he's dying to say. Just say
Come on,
it.
bring it on.
No, I didn't. I'm not discovering anything. I'm just saying it's just fun. I thought you guys were on board as well.
What?
All right, so let's just get it out of the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Remember I was telling you when you walked in, a lot of people have to eat crow.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people had sake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying any names, but
These guys.
yeah. These are our staff picks.
Yeah, we can't hide it. We can't hide from them, man.
These are our
on the
staff
website.
picks.
Come on, guys.
Did you notice Goes? I was like, how you doing, Khalil? And then Dan came all the way around. Gave you a big NBA hug. Bring it in for the real thing. I was just kind of chilling, going like this. What's up, player? You know what I mean?
I believed in you.
Yeah.
I feel it.
No, but you know what? I will say this. I probably at some point said it would interest Khalil more probably to get the fight to the ground because we want to see how good Saki is on the ground. He just hasn't been training MMA as long as you have.
Yeah.
And I probably did say, I'll be honest, I'll be a man. Hey, the longer the fight stands, Khalil's fighting a former K1 and Glory world champion. Could that be a benefit? You know, could that actually be the best game plan out there? Now, this is one last thing I want to say. I hope Goes heard me, but Richard Hunter was in between us. I did say this. It is 4-ounce gloves that they're hitting each other with. And a lot of strikers, a lot of high-level strikers that have come in before, even if they've won, they've tasted the leather, and, you know, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Because it's not 12-ounce or whatever it is they use out there, 10-ounce. You can absorb more of those punches.
Yeah,
hell, guys, if you want a tip out there in Glory, most of the, except for the heavyweights, most of them go the distance. That's why the over is like -340 or -270, because a lot of those fights go the distance. A lot of the sharps know that, but in heavyweights, these guys, they'll take each other down, and you'll see that over/under come down a bit. So a lot of people like to exploit that. Yeah. But regardless, these are 4-ounce gloves. You know what I mean? So sometimes you can't just take that shot either.
Yeah, for sure.
And luckily, right as I say that, I saved myself a little bit with the guy that was sitting next to me. Good observation. Goes boom, you hit him. He fell down, and that recovery time it's just there's not much to it.
There's
really
not much.
He had enough time to maybe come up and grab a single, but by then, boom, 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 hammer fist, he was done.
Yeah, for sure. I think the important thing too is, you know, I've been in there a lot of times now, even since the amateurs, and when you get used to what it feels like to get hit by a 4-ounce glove, it kind of raises a big awareness. You know what I mean? So you know what to expect. And so with someone who is an excellent striker and decorated striker and kickboxer, but you only have like 2 MMA fights, there's not much experience of like what to expect. You know what I mean? And like taking nothing away from Henrique Silva, it's just like the guy's not a really like hard hitter like that. You know what I mean? You can see in their fight that, you know, you hit him a few times.
The one in Japan?
Yeah, and it really didn't make too much of an effect on Saki. It was more of like the movement and the, you know, like them kind of clinching and you'd like those type of things that really wore him out. It really wasn't the punches in my experience of watching the fight. So I think that I had an advantage of just knowing what to prepare for, and also being so aware that like this guy's legit on the feet and we have these baby gloves. Like I'm not going to put myself in any danger. Like my awareness was so high for this fight.
Do you feel like, I'm looking at the salaries, they paid this guy $85 just to show. Do you feel like you were almost being set up to make him look good?
I mean, I could look at it that way, but I'm on the tough contract still. You know what I mean? Like, that's the contract that I've been on since I started. So I knew what I was coming into as far as payment goes. You know what I mean? And then also coming off a loss, like I knew that it wasn't going to increase. It stays the same. But to see that, you know, off of just having one win and come in there and making almost $100,000, it really opened up the possibility of what's for me. Like, okay, cool. Now what can I get paid now? You know?
Right.
That's what I was gonna ask. And not just that, but when it comes to the conversations with the matchmaker, do you feel like you have a little bit more power now to puff your chest and say, "Hey, I would like this in my next fight"?
You know what? I think I do, but that's kind of what I have a manager and an agent for, you know, because I'm not really savvy on how it works, on how or why they pay guys what they pay them, all that stuff. But I'd hope that something like that really like heightens my chances of like, okay, like we'll bump you up a good chunk. You know, we'll bump you up a good chunk. I'm really hoping on that. So,
what would you like? What is your best case scenario? Fighter next.
Like pay wise?
No. Who you'd like to face?
So I was looking at the rankings, and there's some really good guys up there. I think, like, I already fought Pedro. He's 13 now or something like that. I think right above him was Cummins, and then just like goes up from there. So I don't really know exactly. Like, there's not someone who I look at and I'm like, I want to fight this guy. I want that spot. But I looked at it in a way of like, who's up there, and then I'm like, I'm prepared for whoever they give me. Yeah, I'll take all of them. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm here. Mm-hmm. Like I said in the interview, like, I'm here. I'm not here to run away or to pick and choose, but it's just like, I'm here. Whoever they want to see me against, but I'd hope that it's somebody at least in the top 15.
I'll give you some inside information.
Let's hear it.
I got a lot of texts from casual friends.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that went on this weekend, I got a few. Who's this Khalil Roundtree guy? When's he fighting again?
Yeah.
You made a lot of waves, so I think you do have that power to say, normally, sometimes when you're just starting out, you'll get that text where you find out you may have been the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gokhan Saki may have said, I'd like to fight Khalil Roundtree. I think you're that guy now. I think you're the guy that can say, I would now like to fight this guy.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, spending so much time focusing on this fight and not getting ahead of myself, all of my plans, everything that I had envisioned for my future literally stopped at this fight. So it's only been a couple of days since I've just been able to kind of like let loose, and now I can really see what's next. So I knew that winning this fight would be able to, like, catapult me to the next level. But I knew that I had to win this fight in order for that to happen. So I literally did not get ahead of myself. Like, okay, well, after this, then who's next and what to go. So, now's the time to just like, okay, let's look at this division. Let's see what we're going to prepare for.
You had a lot of teammates that were all fighting relatively within, a month of themselves. What's that like, having everyone on that same page, getting ready to peak at the same time? I know, granted, some of them were females, but just that whole gym chemistry.
Well, I was not at Syndicate for this camp.
Oh.
Yeah, I moved to California. I was actually living with Anderson Silva and training at Black House, yeah. I went out there to go train at Black House, and then Anderson and I are very close, and he's just kind of like, what's your situation? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm just trying to find my way, man. I trained in Vegas a bunch, and just like, I really just want to grow. I want to try something differently, and he's like, I got you, little brother. Just like, stay here. We'll train jiu-jitsu. He's got a home gym. He's like, you can train here, work on some basics. So he taught me some really basic stuff, and just really gave me some encouragement on as far as just like being me, working and learning, but being able to just really express myself kind of like how he did,
Will that be the case going forward?
What,
camps and stuff?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I have a solid group of people who I trust forever, Kenny Johnson, even John Wood. Like, I wasn't training at Syndicate, but I trust that guy. He's helped me with a lot.
Kenny Johnson doesn't get the respect he deserves, huh?
No, you know what? That guy,
he does a lot of things.
That guy is the only coach that I've experienced. I'm not saying the only coach in the world, but that I've experienced firsthand, that for all of our practices, he's there from start to finish on the mats with us, training just like we are. So if he's telling us to bust our ass on the mat and training's not hard enough and stuff, like, he's the example of like the level of the training. And for someone who's a coach to still be training with us, grappling, sparring, never miss a session, like, that's to me admirable. And so to have someone like that as a coach in your corner, it's like when things get rough, you can look at a guy who's coaching you and also kind of get that feeling like he knows what it's like. Maybe not in the cage, but he knows what it's like because he's been there in the grind. Wrestling me, I'm, I don't know, almost 100 pounds heavier than him, and he's like, you want to learn how to wrestle? Okay, you and I are going to wrestle, So I definitely think that, big up to Kenny, man. He deserves a lot of respect.
So, a couple things here. Are you going to be living in L.A.?
I don't even know, man. Like I told you, everything stopped at the fight. So now I'm just like, okay, like, I got a little bit of cash. Like, I can pay some debt.
I saw it. 19 to show, 19 to win. Sorry, but it's public.
Yeah, 19 to show,
50
19 to win.
An additional 50.
50 Gs. And so, like, just like I said, just be able to get out of some debt, kind of help the family out with, just a couple things, just to lift a little bit of weight off my family. And then, now I can start to figure out, like, what's next, whether it be California or...
I know Anderson's got a nice house, but are you like Cato Caitlin? You got your own room in the back, or you in the house?
No, I stayed in the guest house, like in the house. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, man, like he's someone who, since we first started, like training together, since we first met, he took me in, man, and it's like it's something that it's just completely different. It's like it's really family. Like to wake up and be around, his wife and his kids, and really not like as a guest, but it's like not like your family, like do the dishes, clean up, like it's like real family vibe, and it's amazing. I can't thank him enough, man. I've sent him text messages like I can't even express to you how grateful I am for you to like just take me in.
How old are you, Khalil?
28.
I just realized that Cato reference. You might not even know what the fuck I'm talking about. You were only 4 years old when OJ allegedly stabbed 2 people in Brentwood, California. One of them was Cato Caton. One of them was not Cato Caton. He was the guy that lived with OJ Simpson in the back house.
Okay.
So yeah,
I've seen the
I got to catch
Netflix. The
OJ
Simpson thing. Yeah.
I still haven't seen that. Is it really good?
Mm-hmm.
I heard people. I saw the People versus OJ Simpson.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Have you ran into OJ? Any of you guys run into OJ here in Vegas? No. He's everywhere.
The girl that cuts my hair cuts his hair now.
Really?
She went for the first time, or he went for the first time like a month ago, and then he asked for her again and came back like a week ago.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's been at some of the hockey games, and he's in Summerlin a lot. People run into him at the movies.
Just chilling.
And so that was 94. So you were born, what, 1990 or something?
Yeah, 90 on the dot.
Yeah, so that's why you might not get the reference. But Cato was a key witness, and he lived in the back house, in L.A. But can I segue here for a second?
Yeah.
What would you guys do if you ran into O.J. Simpson? Ask him for a picture or just walk in the other direction?
I'm not a picture guy, but if you're asking me if I'd be like ridiculously like offended or on that side of the spectrum, I wouldn't like do anything or anything like that. I'd just be kind of different about, that's OJ. But that's kind of how I'm with everybody, whether they have baggage or not, to be honest.
How about you guys?
Celebrity.
I don't think I'd ask him for a picture. I don't even know if I'd go up to him. I think I might just give him like a "What's up, juice?" or something.
That's a tough one for me. That was one of my favorite athletes growing up.
Yeah.
Because he went to USC, and I love USC football. We used to go to games. I used to have 32 on my chest. That was his number.
Nice.
And then he played for the Buffalo Bills, and he was outstanding. He used to do these Hertz commercials. He was it, man.
Yeah, he was the guy.
All Pro Bowl, you name it. And then towards the end of his career, he played with the San Francisco 49ers, which had become my team, He wasn't as good then, but still, he was OJ. And then when that happened, that was tough. Crushed me because I don't want to get into the case itself. Obviously acquitted criminally, guilty civilly. But I've been asked, what would you do? And that's one guy that I probably would have, back in the day, would have loved to take a picture with him because I was a huge fan. And now I don't know where I stand. I think I'd be like Dan or Goes and just walk in the other direction. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I'll have to be put in the spot, huh?
Not even a sub juice?
I mean, if it was one of those situations like where I'm at Starbucks, when you're at Starbucks and you go, hey, how's your day going or something like that, I'd probably do that,
Yeah.
Because I'm a believer, too, in the system. He was acquitted on these charges, and then civilly, he wasn't. Now, do I think he did it? Again, no sense in going down at this moment for that. But that's always been a tough one for me, and now people are running into him, and I don't know. But how about you, Khalil?
Honestly, like if I saw him in the sports book, I'd just be like, oh, there's OJ, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Because there's no connection really, Like you said, I was born in the '90s. By the time I was even watching TV, he was already on trial and stuff, so he never really had like an impact on me. But I'd see him and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's OJ over there.
Yeah.
His generation is more like Michael Vick, right? That's his conundrum.
Yeah, Michael Vick. What would you do?
Same thing.
What's up?
Usually if I see celebrities, I'm just like, oh, that guy's over there. I'm not a guy that go up and take photos either.
Nobody? There's got to be someone.
The only person that I ever was just extremely excited to take a photo with was Shaq. I've always been a huge Shaq fan.
Right.
And he was at my fight in Houston, and he saw it, and he came backstage as I was taking the post-fight photos, and I got a photo with him.
What did he say to you?
He's just like, man, good fight, man. I'm like, thanks. He's huge,
Were you one of many? In other words, did he go, good fight? Or did he go, good fight, Khalil. Like, do you think he knew who you were?
Well, yeah, he saw it.
Okay, so he wasn't just saying it. He remembered.
Yeah,
what had just happened.
Remembered. Yeah,
Gotcha.
he had just got there, and I was like the first when he came in. I was the first fight that just happened.
Right.
So like when I came backstage, it was like that was just like the first one. So there was none before that. So he's like, yeah, good fight. Like,
Hey, let me ask you this, only because it's happened to me.
Yeah.
Would it have stung at all if he would have said, "Good fight, Kevin"? Because I've gotten that before, just different name.
I don't think so, because it
Still
was
would've been
Shaq,
cool?
man. It was Shaq, yeah.
Would you have told him, "Hey, my name is not Kevin"?
Oh, I
it's
would have for
Khalil"?
sure corrected him. Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes I just go with it.
Yeah, no. I don't think I've ever gone with, like, if someone called me the wrong name, I'm just like, oh, for sure. I'm like, no, it's Khalil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the game. I think it's funner when they discover on their own.
Yeah, I've actually had people come up to me and, like, completely think I was, like, a different person. And also, like,
who?
Just, like, I've gotten, like, Uriah Hall. I've gotten Kamaru Usman. Like, you're the guy from the American Top Team Ultimate Fighter. Like, nah, that's not
Kamaru's pushing it because you're way taller than him.
Yeah, but
whereas at least Uriah's tall. He also has facial hair.
Yeah, but it's just, like, sometimes people have no idea, like, what's going on. I mean, so, for instance, being like talking about Anderson Silva, right? Like I was here for the Nick Diaz camp with him, and we were all at like Cheesecake Factory, and we all were like suited up because he likes to do the tracksuits. And it was right before he had to go fight, and we were leaving the restaurant, and security like grabbed me instead, like you're gonna be the dummy, And so like we just like walked.
Oh, you were the play Anderson
Silva?
Silva?
Yeah. So people were like, "Oh, Anderson Silva," and I'm just like waving, and they had no idea, man.
Did you have to pull the cap and wear glasses?
I actually just was normal. Yeah.
And they thought you were Anderson Silva?
People sometimes just don't know, man.
Give me a smile. See, that Anderson Silva's got a big old
yeah,
smile,
it's huge.
right?
It's huge. So
you got to work on that smile too, Khalil.
Why?
Show some teeth.
No, man.
That's it. That's what you gave me.
No.
There you go. That's a nice smile right there.
See, that's not fair. You've been doing this my whole life. My mom's been doing this too.
Yeah.
They always tell me smile in photos. If I smile, it looks like this. But if I laugh, then you can see my teeth.
Yeah,
so
for
what
sure.
you guys want me to do, I have to do this. I have to like do. Sometimes
like
faces just don't work like that.
Okay, how about this? We're not going to a commercial now, but when I go to a commercial, I'm going to find a pic. I'm going to show it to you, and I want you to be as honest as you've ever been with me, and go, "Ooh, I get what you're saying." All right. I don't like my smile. For one, I have Bell's palsy, so half of my face just doesn't function as well as it should. But I have noticed that showing a little bit of teeth is probably my best smile than when I just do that deal or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm now embracing, even though I have crooked teeth on the bottom, it's like a fingerprint. That's just me.
Yeah.
Now I could go out there and fix it, but I wanted to for a while, but I'm like, no, that's just me. That's just the way my teeth played out.
Yeah,
and I'm not on TV or a model or anything like that where I have to worry about it. But
you're not a model?
But Anderson's got a big old smile.
Yeah, it's huge,
he got me back.
I was waiting. I wanted him to do it, but
but Anderson's got a big old smile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
Any picture that has
like,
my
shut the
teeth
fuck up.
in
Let's
it,
talk about my fight. I served up Gokhan Saki.
I'm laughing.
Huh?
Because smiling, it's just impossible for me. It means I'm laughing. Any picture you have of me with showing teeth in it, it's because I was laughing or something.
Probably.
But smiling,
I think it might have been on that.
That's actually the best way to get a good. Like my favorite photos of myself are if I'm like laughing. You know what I mean?
I like
if
it
someone
too.
tells me to
I like
smile,
it
I'm
too,
just like.
So I should go 1, 2, 3, laugh.
You should go 1, 2, like that, and then I'll
Tickle?
go, and then you'll get what you want, basically.
Did you say you were a free agent, or you're coming? Are you a free agent right now, or are you coming up on what could be another contract soon?
No, I'm still in the tough contract. So no, I'm not a free agent. I'm still under contract.
How many more fights do you have on that contract?
That was 6 of 7.
Oh, so now's the time they're gonna call, right?
I'd hope so.
Because they want to lock you up. And what do you think you're gonna tell them? You think you're gonna say, "Nope, I want to finish out the fight and roll the dice on yourself," or you want to come to terms early and just put that out of the way?
I would like to come to terms. I mean, I want to keep fighting. I want to keep fighting, and then the plan is to progress. The plan is to climb the ladder. So.
You already have a number in your head of what you want?
What do you mean? Like next?
Yeah. So again, it's public. You made 19 and 19 in your last fight.
Money-wise.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I want to make what Gokhan Saki was making.
Oh, nice.
I know he sells more tickets, right? It's like he sells more tickets. He's got way more viewers.
That,
like
he just
I think the hardcore's like.
He just put you over. So going into this fight, he was the A side on that matchup alone, right? But now you're the A side if you guys were to ever rematch in MMA. But of course, I don't think you guys are going to fight. But you're going to become the A side versus some other guys as you continue to become more of a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to fight Alex Gustafson, he's the A side, you know. But the guys that are trailing you, you're the A side. So yeah, it'll be fun to negotiate, enjoy it, embrace it, and hopefully you get a solid number. But this is a great fight to go in there and battle on, you know, because you just put a lot of people on their feet, you know, and you had a bonus, you know what I mean. So this is a perfect time for you to do this, and I hope it goes great for you.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I got, like I said, I got some good guys in my corner and managers and stuff that know how to, know how to work it. I just fight, man. You know what I mean? I need to do some more studying and business and finance and all that stuff to be able to bring like an argument to the table. You know what I mean? I don't know how it works, but that would be awesome to be able to make that type of money to step in there. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And here's another thing too. I just mentioned it earlier. I was scolding all 577 UFC fighters.
Okay.
Everyone but Curtis Blades, because he was the one that was part of my lesson plan. Curtis Blades is experiencing a problem right now in that he probably was next, or maybe could be next, for the winner of the heavyweight title fight, which in this case was Daniel Cormier. Instead, Brock Lesnar, who hasn't won since 2010, is going to get the next shot. Now, we've had Blades on the show a few times. Sometimes he's pretty funny, but most of the time he's really serious, and he's just kind of a little dry, and he just kind of goes with the flow. And I feel like it has now come back to bite him in the ass, because what the UFC wants to do is sell tickets, put asses in seats, sell pay-per-views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need your guys' names to trend. But if you're just going through the motions and you don't give the media much, then when the media puts stuff out and the fans aren't going to have a reaction and the UFC sees this, then they're not as anxious to promote your fights.
Yeah.
And now that I was just looking at your record yesterday, 7-2-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
7-2-1. You know, you get on a run, you could be Curtis Blades soon, where now you're going to want a title shot. Now, you're not there yet, but have you thought about that? Have you thought about what kind of waves you want to make in your division so that when the timing's right, there is no doubt? Dana White will go, Khalil's next. He's won 5 in a row. You know, the fans love him. Things like that. Have you thought about that business side? Because that's what I was telling all the fighters was learn from the Curtis Blades situation. And if you're a contender or if you're a rising contender, start to figure out what your game plan is going to be so that when it's your time and nobody jumps over the queue over you. Somebody that's more popular, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. I haven't spent much time thinking about that type of stuff, you know. I can't get too ahead of myself in this whole thing, thinking about the business and, you know what I mean, like how to promote and all these things yet, because I'm more focused on solidifying my skills, man. That's the most important thing to me, because I don't want to become a case where now I'm talking and just like having a bunch of knockouts and then, you know, putting on a crap performance or losing, and then all of those marketing dollars and everything that the UFC pumps in, and then it just crashed down due to me like not being skillfully prepared. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my main focus has been just like, let me lock in my skills. Like that's it, man. Like everything else, I think at the end of the day, like my skills will speak for themselves. Maybe I may not be the most marketable guy and sell tickets and put asses in seats verbally, you know what I mean, or with my character or personality, but at least the people who are going to watch will always know that no matter who it is that I'm fighting, that like I'm prepared and that I can win in any situation, and then that I'm willing to put on amazing fights. You know what I mean? Like I embrace every time I go in there, I embrace that I'm going to get into a big fight.
Okay. We got to go to break.
Let's do it.
All right. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got Khalil Roundtree here in the house. He's coming off a big win over Gokhan Saki at UFC 226.
Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
SiriusXM presents ESPN's coverage of the championships at Wimbledon. Hear point-by-point action throughout the fortnight. Starting every morning at 4 Eastern on Sirius 145 XM 207 and streaming on your phone or at home on SiriusXM, connected devices, and speakers. Khalil Roundtree is our guest here. He's in studio with us. He's co-hosting the second hour with us. And he's coming off a big win over Gokhan Saki at UFC 226. He was the underdog going into that fight. So a lot of you underdog players, you made some bank because all 5 underdogs on the main card came through. Can you imagine if you just did that little parlay alone? Whew, that'd be some bank right there.
Seriously.
Did you make any bets?
I didn't, man.
No?
I don't bet.
Okay.
No, I like to keep my money.
Smart man.
Yeah, I don't bet. I don't gamble. I'd rather just either spend it or save it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're confident in yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You can bet on yourself. I'm not trying to set you up. It's not against the law to bet on yourself.
Yeah, but I still don't bet. You know what I mean? It's like I just don't bet. It's just something I don't do.
I got you.
Yeah.
So no blackjack, no craps, nothing.
I've done it before. I mean, I'm from Las Vegas, you know, so it's not like I've never done it before. But I don't like losing money. You know what I mean? If my money's gonna go out, it's like it's either got to be like for something in exchange or like to help someone out or to buy food or something like that. But to just like for it to just disappear on chance is not something that I'm into. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I can respect that. And more than likely, you are making the more responsible decision of not gambling than those that gamble. Yeah. Now, I do want to push you on another subject. Just before the break, we were talking about going forward, Khalil Roundtree.
Okay.
Your next set of 10 fights. You're 7-2-1. You're closing in on free agency. In fact, it may actually be starting because they like to lock in fighters usually when they're on their last fight. And you stated, I'm focused on my skills. I'm not too much worried about the other thing. Now, was that something that you meant that was then, but going forward you may start to apply that? Or is it just Khalil's always about what's happening in training and you let other people worry about your brand?
That's more of the approach now. You know, like there's a reason why there's matchmakers. There's a reason why there's just an entire staff at the UFC that do their jobs, right? And I realized the benefit of kind of being your own promoter too, right. You know, like, and where that's gotten people. I mean, Connor, for example, like that's the best example to use. But like I said, the biggest thing that Khalil Roundtree wants to focus on is my skill, point blank, because that's the only thing that I'm more confident in and more, you know what I mean? So UFC, like they have their team of marketing, promotion, all of that stuff, and so if my skills can create like sick, I'd rather be safe and secure in my health, my physical well-being, than get paid a few extra $1,000, man. It's like we're going in there against killers. You know what I mean? Like we're training to fight each other with 4-ounce gloves.
That is nutty to think, goes that we call this fight at Tough Enough. He was in our studio when he was an amateur.
Makes you feel old,
and Gokhan Saki was on like World K1 Max at 4 in the morning, you know, in Japan in late December.
I was watching him at that time.
Right, yeah. And to think, like, I mean, even at that time, because you probably never thought he'd come to MMA, you know?
Never.
And all of a sudden, we got to see you guys fight last Saturday. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's when I look at that, yeah, when I look at that, it's like, it's cool to take in, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Was Gokhan Saki in any way rude to you or off-putting, like you weren't on his level before the fight, whether it was just a look, a handshake, or any words that maybe we don't know about?
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of things that were said. Like, I've never said anything bad about the guy, you know what I mean? I've never disrespected him. It's always been respect. Like, I grew up, I watched him when I first started fighting, things like that. There's definitely a level of understanding when it comes to promoting a fight, right? I'm going to knock this guy out, all that stuff. But, like, when you look at me face-to-face and still don't show respect for me as a man, as a fighter, that I'm stepping in there with you, you know what I mean? Like,
when was this? Press conference, weigh-ins, or hotel lobby?
Just like that whole thing, you know, like even the first stare down is just like, you're not ready. It's like,
he said that?
Yeah, that was the first thing. And so for me, it's like, I'm just doing my best to be myself, to be calm, to just be like, I am ready. But I don't have to prove it to him. Like, yes, I am, or you're not ready. Like, that's stupid, dude. Like, yeah, I'm ready. I train every day of my life. Of course I'm ready.
Your actions spoke on Saturday, but would you like to say something to him now?
No, I don't care, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
The action spoke on Saturday. We'll
exactly,
leave it at
and that was my focus too. It's like I told you, man, I'm not here to talk trash. You know, like that might work for other people. They might see there's benefit in that, but like my skills and my actions are what I'm working on to speak for me, man. You know, because the words that I have to say are never really against anybody. You know, I do my best to not, you know, pump myself up too much. Like, I like to look at myself normal like everybody else. You know what I mean? And, like, the belief in myself that I have and in my skills are what I prove in the cage, you know, to myself. And that's for something for me to hold on to. But just to, like, to talk trash or say I'm better or I'm this, it's like, nah, man, like, I will let my skills prove. And then I'll, you know, that's it, man. I don't have no bad things to say.
The crowd erupted on Saturday. You heard it, right?
Yeah,
Soak it all in.
I heard it.
Feel good?
Not really.
No? Fuck.
Nah. Because I didn't do it for the crowd this fight, man. I needed to do it for myself.
Okay.
You know, like reading comments and people say, like, oh, ignore the comments. It's just trolls. It's like, yeah, but I'm still human. You know what I mean? I still got to wake up, and if I want to check Instagram to see what my friends are doing and have to deal with comments of, you know what I mean? You're trash. Like, your last performance was whack. You gassed out. Saki's going to kill you. I hate you. You're going to die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Turkish fans, there's, like, messages, emails. Like, who emails people, like, hate messages? Like, it's come on, man. You know what I mean? So, and just, like, going on MMA media and seeing that everybody's, like, counting against me, I'm like, yeah, I've been here for longer. And all you guys want to go against me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it made me not even want to deal with anybody. Like, that's why I shut off my social media. I'm just like, I'm going to get better for myself, and I'm going to fight for myself. Like, so when the crowd erupted, I'm like, whatever. Because if I were ever to lose again, you guys are going to go and erupt for the other guy. So, like, it's not about you. It's about me. Like, that's how I felt.
Well, do you like that going forward? Or
not all fans will do that, Khalil.
Man.
To be
it
fair.
really depends. Like,
not all fans will do that.
No, not
the
all
ones that
fans.
emailed you and said that are such a small percentage of the ones that really care about you and will ride with you no matter what. You know?
And those are the ones that, like, when I take my time to, like, this week, you know, I'm in the hotel room and I'm like, okay, it's International Fight Week. I need to get focused and all these things. But I'm like, when I go up the hotel room, you know, there's fans that kind of just, like, wait around. They want pictures signed and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs and just hang out with them.
That's
know?
Cool.
Like, because those are the ones that are showing, you know, like, genuine support, and the ones that, like, you know, on my IG and stuff like that are consistent and just like, yo, we're back, we're backing you, we're behind you, all those things. Those are the ones where I'm like, okay, cool, like, it's been consistent. I know the people that have been consistent with me as fans, but there's just such a big, like, it's such a big gap, man. You know what I mean? I feel like there's more people that are just kind of like, I mean, it's with sports in general. Just like fair weather fans, you know. It's like, oh, this guy's sick, and then it's like one loss. Like, oh, this guy's trash. You know, it's like, I'm gonna just do it for myself. You know, the fans are gonna be entertained. The people who I touch are gonna be entertained.
Well, I was at the top because we're not big media. They had us way at the top, and we were looking down. And but when you did that, I was able to see all 17,000 and see them, like, erupt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Look, man, it sucks when someone gets their ass kicked. I'm not trying to go to that. But the fact remains, you guys are going in there trying to kick each other's ass. But when someone beats the other guy and one guy's laid out and the other one's primal, you know, and, like, enjoying that moment, and the fans are just roaring, I love that more than anything else. That moment more than anything else. It takes. I should have been born in the days of the Roman Coliseum.
Yeah.
I would have got season tickets to the Roman Coliseum. I would have been there every Saturday or Sunday or however many times they had fights. That's where I would have been. I love it.
Just missed out.
Yeah, I missed out by 2,000 years, but I really loved it. And seeing you come through tough enough, and that moment, like I say, connecting the dots. This is a K1 striker from years of success, and somehow you two meet up, you know, and you got to have that. So you may not have enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it for you.
I appreciate that. And now that I think, just kind of reflect back on what I said, there's a big part of me that does fight for the fans, right? Like, I love the people. Like, I'd be an idiot to say that we don't fight for the fans, you know? But for this fight specifically, I took a lot of things personally from fans where it was like I just had to do it for myself. So I'm not saying that going forward it's like F the fans. It's like, no, that's what's keeping us going, you know, and that's what's like I want to use this platform for me to kind of change the perspective for the fans, you know, and just like allow them to kind of see us as, you know, more than just UFC fighters and gladiators, but it's like, dude, I'm a person too, and like, you know, and just kind of build more friends than fans, you know.
That's
like
the problem with an individual sport. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my friends, you know, like who are also my fans, like I love that connection because I see like the genuine excitement in them, and I would love to build my fan base to be like the same way. So if I'm walking through the hotel and people who support me, I was like, okay, you're my friend. You're not just like an MMA fan. Like, does that make sense?
It does, but I'll say this: this is an individual sport. And it's unfortunate that you can't correct the wrong unless you get a fight in 3 months, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
All that stews within you. I don't know if you just saw, but one of the LA Clippers was just walking here. Those guys can lose and in 2 nights win, you know what I mean? But they also get paid millions. So on the one hand, they're set for life. But on the other hand, they won't have that raw connection that you do. But I also feel like a lot of fighters take too much of that with them and carry it. When in reality, it's such a small percentage that are like, fuck you, and Gokhan Saki, and this and that, and the emails. And there's so many that just don't say shit, but they're still your fans because they have a ton of respect for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But these guys get pissed on all the time. Think about how many, I don't know if you've done it, but I know I've gone into a Dodger game and said, fuck the Giants, you know, or whatever. Fuck the Celtics. Fuck you to another fan.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's what I feel about their team. In MMA, you say that to a fighter, and they're like, you know, like, why are you saying that about me? Well, you just happen to be the guy that fighting the other guy, you know, but I still respect you. It's just North American culture, especially in the United States. That's just the way it goes down. Even in Europe, man.
That's a good perspective.
But in the end, at the end of the fight, I think most people will go, man, that was a nice KO. You got my guy, but that was a nice KO, and then that's that. But all those other people, those are people that are so insecure in themselves, they probably have nothing going on, that all they can do is get the attention of a famous person, and if they get a response, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that's a nice watch, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Okay. Oh, we got to take some calls?
Let's do it.
Oh, and then what do you want to do, this or this?
We got to do that. They've been waiting too long.
All right, let's take the calls. Marco from Waco, he's been waiting. Punch him in, Danny. Marco from Waco, what's up, buddy?
Marco from Waco, ¿qué pasa, Datus and Khalil?
¿Qué pasa contigo, chico?
Pretty good.
Hey, Khalil.
Hey.
I speak against you in my own little podcast. I'm Radio, another MMA podcast. Dude, you shut me out because I didn't think that you will knock out Gokhan Saki. So, wow, so super impressed, man. The way you did it too, beautiful. Don't worry about the Turkish fans mood. When my ex-wife is Turkish, and I know how the Turks are. They got a special kind of beauty when they good against somebody.
Yeah.
So ignore them, dude. Just don't freaking walk around in a group of them by yourself because they carry knives.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done some research.
Yeah, one thing that I do disagree with you. You know, you're super talented. At the part of not talking trash, I don't tell you to talk trash. But you know, you got a chip on your shoulder, and you did it on your post-fight interview.
Yeah.
And that's 11 because people that make noise are the ones that instead of making thousands are making millions. I mean, Daniel Cormier, he's the nicest guy in the planet, but he knows when to turn on the promotional volume, and he's making millions of dollars, man. And in the future, that is what I want you to be. Peace out.
Okay, see you, Marco.
Thank you, man.
Marco calling in to eat crow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people did not take Rountree this weekend, and they're eating crow at this moment. Showtime from Tennessee. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time.
What's going on, fellas? And Khalil, what's going on, man?
Just hanging with the boys, man.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm if I ever see you out, if you drink or if you whatever, man, I'm gonna buy you a drink, man. You played a big part of me having a real nice week last week, man. A lot of people probably did. I had you, man, on probably every one of my parlays I put in. I had a buddy of mine, and we were both thinking about this fight, and we both like you. So I had a nice week, man. I won a couple grand last week.
Oh, man, you got to buy him a steak, not just a beer. You got to buy him a steak.
No, Nah, that's what I'm saying, man. I had a real good week, man. And even on the parlays that crashed, I had you on them too. And I just like, man, it was something about you. I saw your last fight, man, that it seemed like you were turning that corner, man. And you got all the skill, man. You got all the ability, man. But I think you just had to get in your mind mentally and know that you could do it. And know you're supposed to be here. And I like what I saw, man. And big ups to you. I couldn't imagine, man, just being a fly on the wall watching you train with Spider. That's like a big moment, you know. He must have saw something in you just for him to bring you in like that, man. So keep up the good work, brother. Keep it up.
I appreciate that, man. You have a good one, all right?
All righty.
Thanks, Showtime. See that? I got you a steak instead of a beer.
Thanks.
You a steak eater? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Big steak eater.
All right, because people in L.A. are sometimes tripping. I'm vegan. I'm this. I don't eat meat. But you're good, right?
Absolutely good.
All right. Just checking here.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the daily debate, and we'll include a top-level UFC fighter in this one. You down?
Let's do it.
Top level?
Yeah.
Cool.
You're one of the baddest 205ers in the world.
Things are looking up.
Yeah. Think about it. People that weigh in at 205 for an hour and then rehydrate to whatever you rehydrate, you're one of the top in the world. The world!
That's dope.
That's a skill. You know what I mean? Like, picture if I was a DJ and I was just a guy that made a lot of money at XS, I could say I'm one of the top maybe DJs in the world, and that's why I get paid a lot of money or whatever. And same thing with you guys. And you know what? I want to say one last thing. I may harp a lot on the cash, and it gets on the nerves of the fighters. You may tell Goes, don't ever book me again. I hate you guys. But I only do it out of love for you guys.
Supposed to say, no, I would never say that.
Because
like, yeah, that might happen.
I'm going to put it to you like this, and hopefully you'll answer honestly. Conor McGregor does an 8-week training camp, correct? Khalil Rountree does an 8-week training camp. Does he train harder than you? You probably don't know because you've never been there, but more than likely, no, right? You guys probably either train the same.
It's differently. Yeah, I wouldn't say harder. I'd just say he trains differently. Yeah.
Differently, right?
Yeah.
But you put your blood, sweat, and tears out there.
Yeah.
And then you go into battle. He does the same thing. But when he walks out with this big check. And some of the others don't, you know. So, for me, my object is to find out how he did it and why can't the others do it as well. Because, again, I want you all to get a bigger piece of that pie.
Yeah.
So, now, along the way, sometimes I bug people. And they're like, man, that's my business or whatever. And that's fine, too. But I've had plenty of people tell me, oh, hey, little light went on. Cool, thanks, whatever.
You know, the money situation's tough, and I know there's a lot of guys that, like, they want to get paid more. We all want to get paid more, you know, and I don't know why it is the way that it is. And I don't have enough, ammunition to really, like, fight that battle. You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, you know, I was always taught to just be grateful. You know, like, you can always want more and strive for better things, but, like, at the moment I'm grateful for what I have, and if I can ask for more and it be that way, then, you know, I'll take what I can get and do better so I can receive more. Yeah.
Word. All right, let's take this last break, and then we'll cruise to the finish line. We have Khalil Roundtree here in studio with us. When we come back, we'll do our daily debate.
Will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
Craziest day of the week in a crazy week.
All right, it's time for our daily debate featuring Khalil Rountree, who got a win over Gokhan Saki at UFC 226. He's a light heavyweight who now has a record of 7-2-1, and hopefully we can see him fight again sometime in 2018. The crowd was going nuts for him on Saturday night. All right, here's the question, guys. With early betting odds out for a UFC heavyweight title fight between Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar, what outcome do you see unfolding? There's 4 choices here. Cormier wins via stoppage, so submission or KO. Lesnar wins via stoppage. Cormier wins via decision, or Lesnar wins by decision. Dan, you go first.
It's tough. Of course, I always reserve my right to change for the breakdown, which obviously is not going to be out till whenever this fight, if it gets made. But my early lean for this fantasy matchup as it is right now, I got to imagine Daniel Cormier will be the favorite. The line will be a little close, but as far as this question, outcome, early lean there, I'm going to guess Daniel Cormier inside the distance, especially after what he did to Stipe. You know how MMA fans, including odds makers, work. What's recent kind of was what's in our head. So
Goes?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a better fight than people think it'll be, but I still have Daniel Cormier early and by stoppage.
Khalil?
Same exact thing. I got Daniel Cormier. I'm going to say I'm going first round stoppage.
First round?
Yeah.
And you guys are thinking TKO, right? Not submission?
Actually, I'm thinking I think he's got to stand with him a little bit, and I don't know that he'll take him down on that first try, but I think when he does, I think it may kind of be like an Anthony Johnson situation.
He's got them little short arms, and the other guy's got such a big neck. Is he even going to fit around him?
I think like a TKO stoppage.
It'll look like clip him and then finish him.
Yeah. Well, it's unanimous.
Yeah.
I also think Daniel Cormier by stoppage is how he'll get him. And I think it'll be early as well. I don't think it's going to be very competitive. I respect Brock and what he did in the sport, becoming a world champ. And he actually had a decent submission game, a decent top game at one point. But against Daniel, I just don't see him getting that position, or if he does, maintaining the position. So I go with Cormier via stoppage. All right, 2,323 votes came in. 73% went with Cormier via stoppage. 13% said Lesnar via stoppage. 10% said Cormier via decision. 4% said Lesnar by decision. So, you know what conclusion I came to? Out of the 2,323, 17% are virgins. Because how can someone take Lesnar over Cormier at this point?
Dude, they
must be those pro wrestling virgin fans.
That's the thing.
Yeah. All right, what are you going to do? Khalil, did we ask you that already? Who do you want next? You throwing out a name, or did I miss that?
Yeah, you guys asked me like 4 times.
Okay, never mind then. When do you want to fight again?
I'd like to get another one in before the end of the year. So
what fight card? Toronto?
I haven't looked.
Dallas?
I haven't looked.
Vegas in October?
I haven't looked. No, I don't want to fight in Vegas. I want to move around.
Okay.
Yeah, so
New York's in November.
October, November, you know.
The Big Apple. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah, October, November.
How did I miss the name? What did he say?
He said that he hasn't
name?
looked.
Oh, he hasn't. No, the name? He said it 4 times? Oh, there's no name. Gotcha. All right. I'd love to see you in New York. I'd love to see big fights for you. Hopefully you get a great contract, and hopefully you make a run at the title, man. Like 2019, late 2019, 2020, that's going to be your time. I see it. All right, my man. That's Khalil Roundtree. And I want to thank him and also Rosendo Sanchez. Those were our guests today. Tomorrow, joining us in studio would be Julian Marquez, UFC middleweight. Mike Bond will also join us via the phone. And Ray Seffel, the president of PFL, he'll be in studio as well. For the 2 Dans and Goes and Khalil, I'm George. Go out there and be a champion.